Today we're going to talk about percent change, which is really finding the multiplier. In all the other stories you've had so far, you've known the multiplier, 25% or 30% or 80% or whatever. This time, you're not going to see a percent in the story, but you're going to find the percent to represent that relationship. So we're just kind of working backwards. And we talk about it as percent change because it's either the amount of increase or the amount of decrease. And you have seen that in the stories that you've worked with. Here's the first story we're going to look at in our examples. At the end of first quarter, David had 8 missing assignments. He worked hard to improve, and by the end of second quarter, he had only 1 missing assignment. What is David's percent decrease in missing work? To the right, you can see my work. Starting at the top, I listed the important facts in the story. 8 missing assignments quarter 1, 1 missing assignment quarter 2. So he definitely did better. He had less missing work. That's why we call it a decrease. And then in little brackets there, I have set up a fraction to find the percent. Fractions is where we've started from. Like to find a percent, it is a fraction. And that portion can be converted to a decimal to a percent. So in these stories today, that's your goal, is can you set up the fraction that will find the multiplier for you? So this is a decrease. I have an example there with the fraction. It's a 7/8. And I'm telling you to the right of it, and I do that on every piece of my work that you're going to see today, I tell you where those numbers come from. So make sure you read that. I'm going to start at the bottom, 8. 8 is the original amount of missing assignments. That was quarter 1. So we started with 8 missing assignments. The top, or the numerator, is the decrease in missing. So it was 8 that he was missing first quarter, but only 1 second quarter. And when we subtract that, he changed it by 7. 8 minus 1 is 7. So 7 is our numerator because it's the change. So it's that decrease out of what you started with. You're always your original amount. So 7/8 should be able to be the multiplier that would represent this situation. 7/8, which is not convenient to change to be out of 100. It's easier to divide to a decimal to get that. So 7 divided by 8, numerator divided by denominator, is 0.875, which is 875 thousandths. Percent means out of 100. So I'm only looking at the 87, and it's 87%, but we're going to bring the 0.5 along to be a little bit more accurate. 87.5% is the decrease. So if we had a story that David had 8 missing assignments, he had an 87.5% decrease from first quarter to second quarter. How many missing assignments did he have second quarter? Then you would have been given that multiplier to work with. We're doing the opposite. We're given the situation and trying to find what that relationship is, what that multiplier is. 87.5%. Here's another story. Claire is keeping track of her time spent reading each week. She read an average of 35 minutes per day during week 1, and during week 2, she spent an average of 45 minutes per day. What is her percent increase from week 1 to week 2? So this time we can still find a percent, but her change is increasing rather than decreasing. If you look at my work to the right at the top, I'll go straight down from the top. Week 1, the average is 35 minutes per day. And I put that in bold and different colors in the story. So I hope that helps you identify. Week 2, the average reading time is 45 minutes per day. So right away, we're going to set up a fraction to find the percent increase in time reading from week 1 to week 2. So I have an arrow there showing you 10/35. So here's where the numbers come from. I like to start on the bottom, 35. The denominator is 35 because that's the minutes from week 1. It's always where you started from. The denominator is that out of, but it's always out of the original. It's out of whatever was our initial 100%, our first amount. And then the numerator is 10. It's 10 because it's the increase from 35 to 45. So that difference, I just subtracted them. 45 minus 35 is 10. That means 10 more minutes she read during week 2 than week 1. And there's your fraction. So 10/35 is really the multiplier in this situation. 10 divided by 35 is 0.285 and other various digits. I just stopped at the thousandths place there. Percent means out of 100. So I'm looking for 2 places after the decimal, 28. So 28.5%. And that is Claire's average minutes of daily reading, the increase of her average minutes of daily reading. That is the multiplier. If in a different story about the same situation, Claire kept track of her time spent reading, she read an average of 35 minutes per day during week 1. If her average daily reading increased by 28.5%, then how many minutes did she read on average during week 2? This is just a different spin on the situation that we have to find the multiplier, and that is what we're looking for, either the percent increase because something improved and got better, like this story, or a percent decrease, which actually in the other story, the decrease is a good thing, and decrease is often a good thing, but that decreasing the number of missing assignments is just the direction it's going, whether it's increasing or decreasing, that you'd have to pay attention to in the story. This video is something you can always come back to, so please watch it again if you need to. During the Google form you will do today, there are also examples that you'll look at to see the work if you answer incorrectly. So you'll see more of my work looking like this, and I encourage you to have your notebook and be doing work setting up your fractions as well.